Yeah.
Good evening, friends. This is Swami Prem Vivek from Osho Amritam, Edison, New Jersey, USA. And today we have the second episode of the series that we are doing, Sannyas and Individual Love Affair, a heart-to-heart chat. Last time we had with Swami Satyavedanta Ji, and this time we are lucky to have Swami Chaitanya Keerti Ji today amongst us. This event is being recorded, so we can play it back later for friends that could not join here. This event will have about 90 minutes of time. It's a chat event. So we will chat with Swamiji, myself, and our co-host, Swami Paritoshi. We'll chat with Swamiji, we'll ask a few questions, and we'll flow with the energy of this evening. And then towards the end, probably 20 to 30 minutes, we will keep it open for Q&A. But in that session, please keep the questions fully focused on only on those 4 topics. So I'll read them out again for your convenience. So first topic is about sannyas. The second topic is about how sannyas is an individual love affair, as Osho says. The third topic is awareness. And the fourth topic is meditation in the marketplace. So the question should be with a lens that asks specifically Swamiji to go over things from his experience so that we can learn something out of it and help our meditation to go deeper and deeper. So that is the angle. No theory questions, no what if questions, simply questions directed to help us during our meditation. So that's what we'll do tonight. Before I go and introduce Swamiji, I'd like Swami Paritosh to say a few things.
Welcome all. Welcome everyone. So my name is Swami Paritosh, and it is a delight to be part of this panel and to talk to sannyasins who have been with Osho before most of us were born, who are here. So we look forward for guidance from them. And the purpose of this call is this particular conversation, as Vivek so well mentioned, is to learn from their wisdom, learn from their being with Osho. There are so many things the next generation can learn and help them individually grow. So that is the primary purpose of this this particular session. So I hope you enjoy these conversations, and I hope this benefits you in your individual growth. So Vivek, again, thank you for this opportunity, and it is so good to be here with all the friends. And welcome so much, Swamiji, and so grateful to almost 62 friends who are here with us right now. And most likely, if the recording and all comes fine, we will be putting this on YouTube as well. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Swamiji. And thank you for co-hosting with me on this beautiful series that really brings the practical aspect of meditation. So friends, I'm delighted to have Swami Chaitanya Keerti Ji with us. Let me give a brief introduction, and then I'll ask Swamiji to say hello. Swami Chaitanya Keerti Ji took initiation into Osho's Neo Sannyas in 1971. Since then, he has devoted his time in spreading Osho's message in India and abroad. He functioned as the spokesperson for Osho Commune International, Pune for 20 years, and currently he is associated with Osho World Foundation, New Delhi. He is the editor of monthly magazine Osho World, published in Hindi and English from New Delhi. He has been the editor, publisher of Osho Times International and Osho books. He is also author of 4 Osho books: The Osho Way in Romance with Life, Osho Fragments, The Alchemy of Zen, and the 4th one is Mindfulness, the Master Key. And I have a copy of that book right with me, and Swamiji has personally signed this copy. I'm so delighted about this. Swami Chaitanya Keerti regularly contributes articles on meditation and other subjects to several national and international newspapers and magazines. He travels extensively to conduct meditation camps in different parts of the country and abroad. And lastly, I'll also mention that Osho Amritam Meditation Center, which is here in Edison, New Jersey, is inaugurated by Swamiji himself in August 2000, 17. So this is actually 3 years and the anniversary of inauguration as well. So with that, Swamiji, thank you so much for joining us to chat with us. I'd like you to say a few things just as a hello, and then we'll get started with the event's questions.
Namaskar to everybody. I'm so delighted that we are chatting today this morning.
Thank you, Swamiji. So, Swamiji, as you have been going through your individual journey, before you met with Osho, I'd like you to share a little bit about what was happening in your life, and especially what was happening in your inner journey that led to reach out to the master, because there are many friends that are probably in that space. So if you could share that.
I would say my real life began when I came in touch with Osho. Before that, it was just, one cannot say it was life. It was more like a struggle, just existing, seeking, searching, struggling, all that. I was writing books with some author, and those were for educational purposes, for students. They were good, just giving me money to help my own studies, but they were not giving me meaning of life, which was missing. And that way, my interest in literature and read good books of maybe Kabir, Vivekananda, Aurobindo, all that started. So in some way, I'm indebted to literature, indebted to books that time I read. And this way, I found one of the excerpts of Osho discourses published in one popular weekly Dharm Yug in Hindi, which was Times of India publication those days. Now it no longer exists. And in that article, Osho was talking about how we live our life is very mechanical, robot-like, and has no awareness, no consciousness. That's why our life is controlled by others. You don't have individuality. Computers don't have individuality. An individual is one who is conscious, who is continuously alive, growing, and not stuck somewhere. So he was saying that people praise us and then we become very happy. People condemn us or speak against us, we become very annoyed, very disturbed. So that means people have remote control of your life to dominate you, to manipulate you. You don't have your own life to respond. So when people control us, we react, we don't respond. Reaction is automatic. Response is coming from your consciousness, intelligence. A man who responds with consciousness, intelligence is real Swami of himself, real master of himself. Others are simply robots. This is something that really impressed me, really touched me, that here is religiousness which is not traditional, but which is really transforming, really gives you how to live life, the wisdom, the insight. So that was, first article was my journey towards Osho's vision and sannyas and life. Then I started reading more such articles whenever they appeared, and they were not appearing every day. They were in 2-3 months or so. But my search was going on. One day I really became very sick that, for a long time I have not read Osho as an article. I was not aware of of his books published somewhere. So that was some Sunday, and Sunday has generally features, many newspapers has many feature articles. So I was feeling sick in my bed. Something within me told me to get up and go out and get this newspaper. Got the newspaper. In that newspaper was Osho's article, and immediately I became healthy. Just the joy, just the ecstasy of seeing him again after a few months. And that was like real health for me. It's like before that I was starving, and now suddenly there is a dose of nourishment. I can get along in life beautifully. And then I searched more Osho articles and books, but it was not easy. The city I was living in was Panipat. This was not Bombay, not Delhi, not where you see good shops. And Osho books were not available in shops also. So I wrote to editor of this magazine to give me the address of Osho. I did not get any response from the editor. Then suddenly Indira Gandhi had midterm polls, elections about, and her slogan was Garibi Hatao, Samajwad Lao. So bring socialism and remove poverty. And then Osho's book was advertised in that magazine, Samajwad Se Savdhan, beware of socialism. So I ordered that book immediately and got it. And though this was on politics of that day and the situation of the world, economy, etc., how Samajwad, communism, and socialism was not good for progress of India, but bringing wealth to India, opening up the economy of India was needed that time. That's what Osho was talking. But in between, there was an undercurrent of individual transformation. He was saying all the revolutions have failed in the world because they become bloody, they don't transform. You change people with different set of people. The present rulers are replaced by another set of rulers, but they are equally dangerous because they don't have vision. They simply treat you as like something utilitarian. They don't treat you as individuals. So real revolution happens when individual is transformed. And my emphasis is on that. He says all the revolutions in the world have become bloody and they have not transformed human beings. I want transformation from within each individual. And it cannot be social, it cannot be large-scale political revolution, but each individual decides to be transformed. Society as such does not exist. Individual exists. And my emphasis is on individual. That's the undercurrent of that book, which I picked up. So I ordered more books. Then the next controversial book came, Sex to Superconsciousness. And reading that book, and there was a picture of Osho in that book, which really was like, when I see the picture makes me throbbing with him. Suddenly there is a palpitation. Picture is not just picture. Picture is more like something, those eyes piercing, something very alive and fresh. It was not just a picture. But I read a few chapters of that book. There were only 5 chapters. And the same night, I had a glimpse of leaving the body. Like Osho was talking about sex to superconsciousness. But he transported me to some glimpse of superconsciousness in that very night, reading through that, going through that. So in a way, I got connected right then reading this book. Then there were more books that I ordered, like now these days you get the translation of that book is called In Search of the Miraculous. Earlier it was only Hindi, Jin Khoja Tin Paiya. Later on, it got translated into English. So reading that book, it is, the discourses were compiled, given at Nargol on seashore meditation camp, Nargol. And at the end of the camp, he is saying that I'm looking for 100 people or thousands of people who can become individually transformed. And I will not just stay here. I would be traveling to look for them and look into their eyes. And if some illumination can happen, I'm ready to work on them. This kind of message was towards the end of the discourse, towards the end of the meditation camp, the last bit. And that stirred me. And next day, I just booked a train. I did not book a train ticket, but I just decided to travel, to buy ticket for any train going to Bombay from there. So went to Delhi first, bought a ticket, and got into the train without reservation. And anyway, I did not have so much money, maybe 50 rupees, and 45 rupees was for the train ticket those days to Bombay from Delhi. Any seat is okay. I just have to go to him. So I go to him. I go to him unprepared, without taking, luggage, suitcase, anything. I'm just going. So I reached in the morning there, and now I have to look for his place. So I go to the place where his books, the publisher's place. I don't have his address, because in the books only was the address of the publishing, Jivan Jagrati Kendra. So Jivan Jagrati Kendra, I reached there, and some servant who was cleaning there gave me the address where Osho was living. So then from there, I go to Woodland Apartments on Pedder Road. And there I see the message in the front written for visitors, that you can meet Bhagwan Shri Rajneesh between 9:30 to 11, or then 2:30 to 4:30, things like that. So now it's already more than 11:30 or so. This time was gone. So I say, I go back, I'll go out and just keep some clothes or luggage somewhere in Bombay with somebody. I did not know many people. So I just, there was one Haryana handloom exhibition people somewhere on that road. I said, I'm from Haryana, can you keep this stuff for me? I would be going to meet somebody. So I said, okay, welcome. And if you don't have any accommodation or something, you are welcome to stay with us also when you come back. I said, okay, let us see. So I go to him at 2:30. And 2:30, I asked his secretary, Ma Lakshmi, that I have come from Panipat and I would like to see Osho. That time he was called Acharya Rajneesh or Bhagwan Rajneesh. It was beginning to be called Bhagwan Rajneesh. So she says, I suggest that you come to listen to his discourses in Patkar Hall for few days, and then you can meet him. Because first see him first, but how he is. She did not know that I have read so many books and all that stuff. But I said, no, I don't need to come to discourses. I want to see him straight away because I have read what he says. She says, but how can I allow you so, suddenly that you want to see, you have not seen him in discourse, etc. I said, well, it's not. But then I kept sitting there. She had not given me yes yet. I kept sitting there and feeling, what is this nonsense that I cannot see him right away. So later on, when I saw this is going to be about 4 o'clock now, and she would say, now meeting time is over and you can leave. So I thought of an idea that I wrote a note to him. I asked Mahalakshmi, give me a piece of paper, I write a note for him and you take it to him, and whatever his answer is, I would accept it. So I wrote few lines, and she, without reading those lines, she just went in and took the message to him, and immediately comes back. She says, okay, go and see him. He's calling you. She did not take me to him, to the room. She just directed me to, there is a room, you go and see him. So there I open his door, and then I see suddenly such a presence. Sitting in a rocking chair, he looks at me and says, Chale aao, chale aao. Come on in. I was waiting for you. So there at that split second, I felt something from within me went to his feet and surrendered. So just I walked a few steps and sat near him. And then he says very gently, Kaise aana hua? Which means, what brought you here? Kaise aana hua? As he said 2-3 times, but answer was not coming from within me because something was choking. So I reminded myself within, hey, you had so many questions to ask, you had so many things to inquire, and now you can't speak. Do something, say something. So I tell myself, and I say, Aapke paas rehne aaya hu. I have come to live with you here. He said, really? Here with me? He had a uproarious laughter. So he said, so sannyas lena hai. Whatever is the condition to live with you, I accept. I simply want to live with you. He said, okay. Then by his side was this intercom to talk to a receptionist or somebody. He says, Madhu, mala lao. Bring mala. He called him Ma Anand Madhu. And that time, Ma Anand Madhu was the president of all Indian sannyasis. He had created Neo Sannyas movement, and she was president of Indian chapter of that, Ma Anand Madhu. And she was Osho's first sannyasa. Ma Lakshmi was secretary, but Ma Anand Madhu was president of Osho Sannyas movement in India. So she brings Mala in, and he introduces. In the meanwhile, while she was to come, just before that, he looked left side to look into his cupboard to pull out a certificate to write a name for me. At that moment, I could dare to look up and see him fully. Otherwise, I was just sitting like bowing my head, not seeing how he's looking. So that was my moment to steal that glimpse. And immediately when he looked at me again, then I go down. I stopped looking and looking at his feet. So he says, तुम्हें नाम देते हैं Swami Chaitanya Keerti. He did not, like these days, there are, people fill up forms, etc. They want new name or old name. There was no such thing. No photography, nothing. So just 1-to-1. तुम्हें नाम देते हैं Swami Chaitanya Keerti. I give you Swami Chaitanya Keerti name. And this is Ma Anand Madhu. He gave a little introduction about her. So just when he said, this is Ma Anand Madhu, I went to touch her feet also. And she says, no, don't touch my feet. Mera to sir pakdo. Charan to ini Guru Maharaj ke hi pakdo. So I said, it was a joke that time, like he was saying that tomorrow she's starting Kirtan Mandali. And you join this group, this Mandali, tomorrow morning, 4 o'clock, the group would be leaving for Gujarat, and you go and join this group and just spread my message. More you would come to know through Ma Anand Madhu, and Swami Chaitanya Bharti was the leader of the group, and Ma Anand Madhu was the coordinator because she is president of Neo Sannyas Foundation in India. So these two, then I touch his feet and come out. And Ma Yog Lakshmi is there with a cup of chai for me. The one who was not welcoming before, she's now, because Osho has accepted. So I have a cup of chai, and then I come out to see how it, how is Bombay, where I have to reach, all that stuff. I see the whole Bombay dancing. It was, September 4 was the date, and it was Ganesha festival. Ganpati Bappa Moria, hold too much loud, too many people dancing in ecstasy. I joined them also and danced with them, because for me, meeting my master, meeting this super consciousness embodiment was my ecstasy. So, some people always ask, what meditation do you do? All that stuff. We do all kinds of different methods of Osho meditation. But seeing him for one moment, split second, is more than lifetime of meditation. Just one look from him is metamorphosis. You are no longer same. So I wonder why next day I have to start spreading his message. So sannyas, work and meditation and spreading his vision, his message became one thing in that moment. Okay, methods of meditation we would be doing later on. I have not, since up to then I had done no meditation. No technique of meditation. It was meditation ultimately is not a technique, is opening to existence, opening to universal energy, dissolving your ego. So when we are receptive to the master without our ego, when his energy can penetrate, life, really, real life begins then. And this was that blessed moment. So then I come back after dancing with these people. I'm given clothes to wear for next morning, because I had come in normal clothes, regular clothes. I had no sannyas clothes with me. So one Swami Krishna Vedant, who had been asked to join the Kirtan group, then he later on, and he was reluctant to go to the Mandali. So Osho understood that, let him work in Bombay and give these clothes to Keerti. So I got the clothes from Vedant, Krishna Vedant, and we were same size. So then next morning I joined Kirtan group, 4 o'clock in the morning. That night I was taken to the Dharamshala where other sannyasis were staying. Our tickets were booked. That time names for reservations were not needed. These days you fill a form for train reservation. Anybody could travel on any ticket. That kind of situation was there. So it was so simple that time. No identity, nothing. You just buy a ticket and you travel. So next morning, 4 o'clock, our journey begins. And we start demonstrating dynamic meditation, demonstrating what Osho says, to people. We do kirtan in the streets to invite them to our event, wherever the event is happening. Give the address of our host there who is organizing. And this announcement job was given to me to where after the kirtan has come to crescendo and we are standing there in absolute silence for a few moments, say in some chowk charaha, so then we would announce there we would be having Osho discourse in the evening, and morning would be dynamic meditation. Everybody welcome to join. That kind of announcement. So few weeks later, we have a meditation camp in Mount Abu. There our Kirtan group goes and joins. And that time, only 40 rupees was the whole fee for the 8 days meditation camp. One evening, the opening evening, introduction evening, and 8 days more. Only 40 rupees. And anybody could, 500-600 people could come to Mount Abu and listen and do meditation with his master. So Mount Abu happens to be also the headquarters of Brahma Kumari mission. And in one of the discourses I remember, they invited Osho to come and see their spiritual museum. And that evening, Osho says, people came to invite me for spiritual museum, to see their spiritual museum. I told them, योग इतना मर नहीं गया है कि उसका म्यूजियम बना के रख दिया जाए. योग तो जीवंत चीज होती है. Yoga is something alive phenomenon. Yoga cannot be brought into museum. So even you are not aware what name to give. Why do I need to visit? I think Osho may have visited earlier and seen, so he did not go for the invitation. So this kind of situation was there. It was a challenge to have meditation camps in Mount Abu because they became really against us because Osho declined to visit their museum. So this is how Osho was talking on Nirvana Upanishad. That was my first meditation camp which I attended. And after that, again, we organized programs to go to other states. Each state we were traveling. So it continued.
Swamiji, I know there is a lot to, there is a lot of questions Vivek has, and I pardon to jump in between. But Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta, as they say. So one piece, just for 1 minute, I would like to listen from you is that got my hair raising when I heard that first time few days back was when Osho was talking on Book of Secrets and he called, you got a seat right next to him. So, and he put your hands, can you just say that once again?
Yeah, this was after I had left the Kirtan group, maybe over 1 year, after 1 year after that, more than that, because Swami Chaitanya Keerti had decided that passed down his leadership of the Kirtan group to Swami Vairagya Amrit. This was decided that he wanted to do something different. So I came with him to Bombay. And then let me come to that first, because Osho, we have because there is a very beautiful memory how we come back also. And this is, without that it would be incomplete. We both come to, me and Swami Chaitanya Keerti, and reached Woodland, Osho, where Osho was staying, and tell Lakshmi that we have arrived and give us time to meet him sometimes. She says, okay, this evening Osho is talking in Patkar Hall. So, but where have you arranged to stay I would like that you first make your arrangements for staying. Then you can listen to Osho and next morning you can see him. This is okay. We have not found a place or hotel where to stay in Bombay. But we keep our few things, luggage here, and then we would come and pick up after Osho's talk. She says, okay. So we leave that stuff there and we start walking towards Patkar Hall. Swami Chaitanya Bharati knew it where it is, so we did not take taxi, we start walking. And then when we are walking, we see Osho's car going past us towards the hall. And so we know that now soon the discourse would begin, so we have to also walk fast to reach there. When we reach the Patkar Hall entrance point, there is Osho's bodyguard standing there. And when we both come, Swami Chaitanya Bharati goes to use restroom for a minute, and this bodyguard meets me then. He says, oh, you are Swami Chaitanya Bharati and Swami Chaitanya Keerti. Osho has a message for both of you. He told me, ये दोनों बहुत लग के काम करते हैं, इनको तुम रिसीव करना और उनको अंदर लाके स्टेज पे बिठा देना पीछे मेरे, क्योंकि ऑडियंस तो सामने होती है प्रवचन और स्टेज पर काफी जगह होती है. So he said, bring these two people. Osho said, bring these two people to the stage from the back door, and they would sit on the stage with me. Okay, and he gave this message. He said, come on, hurry up, because discourse is about to start. So I wait for a minute or two for Swami Chaitanya Bharati to come from his restroom, and then we go in. I say, hurry up, now it's time. Discourse is starting, and let's go. And we have to sit at the back of, his podium where he's sitting. That's the message from the master. So we reach there, and the discourse begins. And in the I could see Chaitanya Bharati was really hurt, because he was the Kirtan group Mandali in charge, leader of the Mandali, and he was being told to look for his accommodation when Mahalakshmi, he met Mahalakshmi. She informed him, first look for accommodation, and then you can come to ask anything in the morning. So he was expecting that he would be accommodated at the center there. So now he was a bit of anger there also. You have worked for Osho for that long. So, but I did not tell him what was the message, because we were to get in first. And we sat both behind him. And there was also another Kirtan Mandali with Ma Taru sitting there. And discourse starts and ends. And then Osho says, "Thodi der ruke, Kirtan karke jaye." To the public he is saying. Then Kirtan begins, Ma Taru starts her Kirtan, and it becomes a really intense Kirtan. I would see there is a anger on the face of Swami Chaitanya Bharati, but he is also dancing, but with that kind of tandav nritya, like when there is a feeling of unwelcome. So then I could, just by the side look, I could see what's going on. So he says, so Kirtan is over, Osho is left with bowing people, blessing people, he leaves, and then we come out. Me and Chaitanya Bharati come out. Then I tell him the message. Look, Swamiji, this bodyguard of Osho had come with this message that he said, hey, you are Chaitanya Bharati and Chaitanya Keerti. he said. And Osho was saying that these two people are, hard-working people doing so much traveling around. You wait for them at the gate and tell them where to come, etc. So then that moment, Chaitanya Bharati became so ecstatic, started dancing. Then he says, "Aao Kirti, tumhe acha lunch, dinner karate hain kahin par." Achhi hotel mein. So I said, huh. Now suddenly everything changed because Master has given that word. So we enjoy our dinner. We take as much time as, we can chit chat and gossip what went on. And about 11 in the night, we come to Woodland apartment. Ma Lakshmi is still sitting there at the reception saying, "Hey bhaiya, kahan gaye the? Tum aaye nahi abhi tak, tumhare liye bistar laga hai, dinner laga hai. You have, we have prepared dinner for you and we have beds for you to stay here." I said, we did not know, so we just thought, okay, we will find something in Bombay. So he said, no, stay here. And Osho had said to his guard to convey the message to Mahalakshmi actually. In front of her, she was driving the car and he was talking to the bodyguard. But that was message meant for Mahalakshmi. So then she did not go her home. She used to stay, even though she was secretary, but she used to go to her own home in the night. But that evening, she kept sitting until we come up to 11 o'clock. And next morning, 8 o'clock, we go to see him. He says to Swami Chaitanya Bharati, you want to continue traveling, spreading my message, or shall I? Swami Chaitanya Bharati is a great photographer. He took all the very wonderful photos of those days before Pune. In many meditation camps like Manali, Bombay, Rajkot, here and there he traveled. So he had joined earlier than me when he was not even sannyasin, but he was taking photographs. He was very famous of taking photographs of Jawaharlal Nehru and like that, those days. So Osho says, shall I make you a studio, photography studio in Bombay, or you want to, how would you like? So Chaitanya Bharati said, Jaisa aap kahenge, as you wish, like a disciple should answer. He answered that way. But he liked the idea, but he still said, when Master asks you, disciple replies that way, thy will be done. Then he said, okay, continue traveling for a while more. Now you two of you go together to each city and stay there for 15 days in every center. That some centers had opened. Swami Om Prakash Saraswati had opened one center in Kota, some center in Udaipur. So we made a plan that way. Then he asked me, what role do you have in the Kirtan group? I said, well, do you play something? I said, I do play Khanjadi when he is playing doubly with him. So he says, okay, so now two of you would go to each city and stay 15 days in each city so that you can do some deeper work with people. When a whole group comes to city, then the host cannot accommodate 15, 20 people for that long. Only 3 days, 5 days is enough. But when two of you would not be so much burden on people. So you can do intense work in each city, 15 days everywhere. Okay, so we come out. But before that, he asked me, when Swami Chaitanya Bharati would be giving discourse about me, after half an hour, pinch him. चुटकी लेना उनकी, चोटी मारना उनको, और कहना कि अब हम कीर्तन करते हैं. संत तुकाराम भी ऐसे ही करते थे. Swami Tukaram said Tukaram also used to do that way. He just made it lighter with this small statement. This is how Tukaram did. So we both come out happy, very happy, and we plan to go to Kota, where Swami Om Prakash was running the center. There we go. That was after 1 year or so, after Kirtan Guru. And we start working. And there he somehow, Swami Chaitanya Bharati realized the futility of, he said, I want to go in 21-day silence. Keerti, you decide for yourself. I'm going for 21-day silence here. I don't want to. So, okay, I go back to Bombay then. Because I have to take permission for wherever I go alone. So then what I did, I started buying Osho's books from Jivan Jagrati Kendra in Bombay and started having exhibitions at footpaths, small places, where policemen will come and beat you up to go elsewhere. Why are you, having your stall here like that? Anywhere on public pottery. So, but to make myself have some money to stay in Bombay for longer period. Then Osho started talking, had planned to talk on Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. So I was told the very first day when this Osho study circle was created. Rajneesh study circle that time. And you could pay only 100 rupees and attend all the discourses happening in that month for 100 rupees. But you need to give your address and phone number, etc. So very first day I was given this job. When people come in, you just take down their name, address and phone number, and we know how many people have joined it. So maybe 30, 40 people had come, because it was not a big place. It was like your living room. Osho, it was like a library, small library in Woodland Apartments. So in that library, Osho's chair was there, and rest of them would be sitting on the floor. So after everybody has come, then comes Osho to sit in his chair. Now Osho is already sitting in his chair, and I think, where do I sit? Should I sit near the entrance point or look around? Immediately I see there is one place close to him, just near his feet, empty, and one person can be accommodated. Immediately, like an arrow, I reach there and sat there, and then he starts his discourse. And this was not like calculation because it was all spontaneous. Nobody had fixed seating, or nobody had cushions there for everybody. It was just on the floor, on the carpet. So I sat there for 1.5 hours. He talks on the first discourse of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra and explains beautifully. I'm also transported in some other world, listening to all that. And then when the discourse ends, people start getting up and coming close to him for touching his feet or namaste before leaving. And around that time, I put my head on his feet, because I'm sitting near his feet. I don't have to come and go, just sitting there. So half of his arm, he put on my back, resting like this. And with the other other arm, he was blessing to everybody who was namaste, leaving, taking blessings. So with his right arm, he's blessing everybody. Left arm, he's relaxing on my back, on my spine. So this was something that this moment became eternity. Like you can say, it went on and on and on, because people take their time to leave. Coming to the master is not easy to suddenly leave for everybody. They would take their time. So his arm was resting on the spine of my back that long. And then when everybody has left, then he gets up and goes to his room. So this was I can be thankful to Chaitanya Bharati. I can be thankful to the whole world that he went into silence, and this was my chance to come back again to be with him, and given this job and like that. So a few days later, I sent him a note again that I want to start your magazine, dedicate to your vision, to your discourses, publish it from Haryana or Punjab. Give me names, please. So the 5 names came to me. One of the name I picked up from it was choice for me to pick up the name out of 5. He said, Anand, Bhavana, Chetna, Sadhana, 5 names like that. So I said, first is Anand, so I will take Anand. So I will go to Haryana, start a magazine in Narnaul, but then I realized that Narnaul is not the right place. So I go to Ludhiana, Punjab, where Ma Yog Neelam used to live. And I inform Osho that now I have come to Ludhiana, where he was very happy because he had seen her when he was traveling around in Punjab, that you are in the right place, so continue there. So I bring out, but then Anand was being published as a newspaper in Pune, so I could not get the name. So I decided to change the name to Anandini. When I had applied to registration office, I was refused that name because that name already existed for some newspaper. So then I coined a word, Anandini, the magazine that brings you bliss, that way. But being in Ludhiana also was not good sale of Hindi magazine because people read Punjabi only or English only. It was too little sale. So one day I decided that all the back issues that are left, I take it to Patna and sell it there. So very first day, everything got sold there because people love reading Osho there. So then I told my assistant to bring rest of the copies and we start the magazine here. There I changed the name to Rajneesh Sandesh to be direct because there Anand Marg was that time condemned by media because of their strange activities. So I changed the name to Rajneesh Sandesh without even asking Osho. So after publishing 2-3 issues of Rajneesh Sandesh, I visit Pune again to tell Bhagwan that I have changed your magazine name without asking you. Could you bless this name, Rajneesh Sandesh? And he says, no, you leave Patna and come here, be in Pune and start the Rajneesh newsletter, Rajneesh Foundation newsletter. They had established by that time Rajneesh Foundation in Pune. And the first issue would come on my birthday, 11th December. So you come earlier than that. So it was month of November, I come to Pune, and then I was explained how the newsletter would look, this full size, the tabloid size, and on the front page will be Osho's, his photo, full page photo. Inside, full discourse without cutting, and the activities of the centers and the activities of commune would be there. This was his explanation. And he said, okay, pick up one book, Shiv Sutra, to edit along with it. So Shiv Sutra was given to me to edit and also to start this fortnightly, which came 11 December 74. So that was the beginning of job of publication. So some Western person was given the job of editing English and I was given the Hindi. In between, many things have happened, but I have come to straight to publication, but other things also are happening. Like maybe 5-6 months after the Kirtan Mandali was traveling, it was split into two. Half group went to Hyderabad because there was certain invitation from Hyderabad to come. And Chaitanya Bharati and 5-6 people with him went to Hyderabad. And I was given 6 people to go to Gujarat. So, I was made the leader of that Kirtan group to go to Gujarat for 6-7 with 6 more people. And that was also a mysterious journey in a way, because we have no address. Who is our host in any city? No, we don't have any host in any city. We don't know. So you simply go from one city to another city, to one village to another village, whatever comes next. Like you go to Mehsana, after Mehsana would be Kalol or Wamaj, Vodavi, this and that, strange names. So we arrive in one city with, I have 6 people with me, and now it is already evening and we need accommodation. There was a big Jain Dharamshala, and we knock at the door of Jain Dharamshala and they said, no, Acharya Rajneesh people cannot stay here. You are not allowed to stay in this. I said, this whole Dharamshala is empty. Why don't you accommodate us for tonight? We already can't find any place to go. Or suggest us where to go. He says, there is somewhere nearby Devi Mandir. Why don't you go there? They may have accommodation for you. So with 6-7 people, we go to Devi Mandir. Jain Mandir looked very beautiful, very clean, tidy, etc. But Devi Mandir did not have any room there, only some place for kitchen. The rest was outside, all empty. Some lawn, something. So they said, when we went to Devi Mandir, the priest there said, oh, you are welcome. Cook your food yourself in this kitchen and eat yourself and stay here. Whatever we have, you take it. So it was already 6-7 o'clock. So we arranged some food. There were girls also in the Kirtan group. The girls occupied their time to cook something, because now it was time for dinner. And in the meanwhile, I thought, I used to do this Tantra Prana Meditation most of the time, remembering my breath. And I said, well, while they are cooking, why don't I just meditate, standing somewhere around in this open area? Sun has set already, everything is dark. There was no light. There was one lantern which they were using in the kitchen. The rest of them, it was all dark. You could not see people there in that village. So they spend 1 or 2 hours making food. And that 1 or 2 hours I utilized standing somewhere in meditation with breathing. And while breathing rhythmic, it suddenly happened that my hands went up and I felt I have left the body. And they became stiff there, standing. I could not bring them down. I was not there to bring them down, kind of. So now when the food is ready and laid out, the people in the group start saying, where is Keerti? Where is Keerti? They can't see, because then they start groping in that. And suddenly one sannyasin who was groping in the dark suddenly finds me standing, and I'm jolted a little bit. And she screams, what has happened to Keerti? Everybody come here. See, I cannot bring down his arms. And the whole group gathers there. Somebody puts a hand on my head, and maybe Ma put my some hand on my forehead, something. Gradually they bring me back and take me with both arms to sit somewhere. So the food, and put food in front of me. And I see tears of joy, bliss coming by themselves. And I wondered, what was the need to bring me back? Because such moments are very rare when you are transported to some other world. So there was some tears, and I eat the food. We sleep beautifully in the open. There was no rooms. And next morning, I inquired the priest there why I went to that particular place and why this happened to me suddenly. He says, you don't know, there is a gufa, cave underneath. Our Guruji has been sitting naked there for 30 years meditating. That's a charged energy field. And you went there without knowing. And his energy make it, something shot up to certain direction that you went. And so I said, where is that Naga, where is that Moni Baba who was here? He says, his disciples have taken him to Bombay. So this was another sudden blessing that you reach somewhere. You are not given accommodation in Jain Dharamshala, and Jain Dharamshala become, in a way, we feel angry with Jain Dharamshala, but then suddenly another place blessing was waiting to happen. So what appears in the beginning something bad turns out to be the most wonderful thing. So I realized that on surface we are traveling around spreading Osho's vision, but this is helping us to grow. Osho is with us. Osho is sending us to different, energy fields around the country. So I was really feeling a blessing that way.
Wow, Swamiji. I've been listening to you and it feels that I can listen to you for another 1 month continuously. Wow, what a life. What blessings of the master you have, Swamiji. Wow. Swamiji, let me ask you a question, and I'm trying to find a question now because I've been so engrossed with your talk. Maybe one question is, it looks like that you were searching for something, you were working on yourself. At the same time, the master was looking out for you as well. It is said that...
Yeah, that was the first sentence when I went in. He said, I was waiting for you.
Wow. Swamiji, was there any conversation about Osho saying anything about that he has been working with you in the past lives as well?
No, but in general, in Osho discourses, he has been saying, people sitting in front of him, he has been saying that it's not first time you are meeting me.
Right.
I had promised you in previous lives. It was not only for me, or for everybody. Everybody can take it that way. You have been with me in previous lives. He has written in letters also to some people, but in discourses also that those who have not come, who have come here, they have not come accidentally. There was a promise to be fulfilled. And it is not the disciple who finds the master. It is the master who finds his own disciples. Otherwise, sitting in a small city where no Osho is never coming physically, Panipat. He went to Amritsar, Ludhiana, but not Panipat. He went to Bombay, Calcutta, Patna, many places in Gujarat. But even from there also. But he said, somebody asked him the miracle. He says, the miracle is that I'm sitting in my room alone, and people from far away countries, where you even don't know the names of those countries, they come, start traveling. So whenever enlightenment happens to somebody, it pulls people from wherever they are in some strange way, unknown ways. That's how Ma Nirvano, Vivek reached him. That's how so many the people who were maybe coming to Goa and not thinking of Pune, they reached him. Just India was the mysterious land they had to reach, where somebody is waiting for them. So it must have happened the same with me, because otherwise how could you be simply transported to some other world when you simply read one article somewhere and you are feeling sick, and next minute you are hale and hearty, healthy, running around. You can conquer the world that moment.
Yes. And Swamiji, also, I will say that, the way you described your experience and surrender with the master, I mean, no doubt you have worked so much on yourself that experience of surrender that you
I don't agree with that. I have not worked at all. I'm the laziest person. To me, to me, the very first day it got decided that each time I met Osho, he says, do this, do that, do that. He never said, go and meditate. Like straight away, he would say, it's like he says, I have come not to teach, but to awaken. Surrender and I will transform you. So there are moments when your ego comes in, and there are moments you are just moments of dissolving the ego and connecting with the source of energy. Like he said to our Kirtan group that when you travel around India, you do divine healing. And the main idea behind divine healing is when you are being a medium, giving healing energy to others, you are egoless. If you think you are healing the person, then you cannot heal it. So you empty yourself out, all the, your ego, your separate entity, you become a vehicle to energy passing through you. You have to allow the energy to pass through you and never say that I healed the person. The same way when we give sannyas initiation to people, we don't give. Even our master did not give. He was the vehicle to the universal energy. And through his sannyasis, he functioned as his energy to give sannyas to people. It happened that once that one Swami Sant, who was his bodyguard for many years, and Osho has talked about him as Untitled and so many things. Also made fun of his name and also blessed him so many times differently. He, in Mount Abu camp, Nirvana Upanishad, he had come as Sardarji. And with a, person with a good, developed ego, as Punjabis are generally, warrior type. Like if he would do dynamic meditation, he would kick around, have his sword out, as if he is just in a battlefield. So that kind of person. When Osho asked him to take sannyas, he said, no, many sannyas lena. Like that kind of answer, even to the master. And then, like Osho's invitation to sannyas, he said no to Osho. And few days later, he inquired from us, our Kirtan group, after Mount Abu, where are you traveling? We told him, Rajasthan. And then he got somehow addresses of Rajasthan, and like anybody could find us, because when we are in a city, we are doing Kirtan, and the whole city knows that now we are here, because we are different type of sannyasis. Western, Indian, girls, boys, all singing in streets. So he came to one city and said, I want to join your Kirtan group. We said, no, you first have to take sannyas, then you can join the group. Then he says, okay, give me sannyas here as you are giving to people here. So Swami Chaitanya Bharti gives him sannyas name and mala there, as we were giving to various people wherever we went. Then his name was given to him, Swami Anand Sant. So after traveling 2-3 months, we come to next meditation camp in Mount Abu. We meet Osho. Each time after coming to, our whole group was meeting to Osho to report him about how it went in Rajasthan, how it went in Gujarat. He was curious to know. So we were informing him. And from each city, I would be sending report to Osho, how to Bombay, how Jaipur was, how Udaipur was, how this was, that was, how many people took sannyas, etc. So we come to next camp, and Sant also is there in the group now. So he tells Osho, Bhagwan, give me sannyas. He says, no, I have already given you. He said, no, but I took it from Swami Chaitanya Bharti. He said, that's me. He said, no, mujhe tarkao mat, mujhe aap sannyas do. So he insisted. He says, but Osho kept talking other things, but he did not give him. He says, the one that you have received is from me. I cannot repeat the same thing. So it never happened again that he was given mala again. Once he has given through Chaitanya Bharti or anybody, anywhere, through anybody in the world, anywhere, whenever sannyas happens, it happens only through Osho. Medium can be anybody. And that medium has also to remember that he is simply performing something for the master. It should not become his ego that I have given sannyas, I have opened 1,000 centers, I have opened this, that. Do it and forget it. Because it is master doing through you. You are blessed that you are allowing it to happen. That is what. But it cannot be your ego. It cannot be your achievement. How many people took sannyas through you? You are not their guru. So I say, every person who is initiating in the world, giving initiation to anybody, before or after or now or future, is a fellow traveler, not a guru. Facilitators are fellow travelers. It's simple facilitation. We don't have any other role. And this role, if master told us to continue performing, it was his wish. We could not even say, no, I'm not, मैं तो योग्य ही नहीं हूँ, मैं क्यों संन्यास लूँ? Because you are not giving sannyas, I'm giving through you. He was saying. Like we said, Bhagwan, when we travel around India, we can very scholarly people, scientists, professors, doctors, and they ask her all kinds of questions. He says, I would be speaking through you, so why you are worried? I give any answer, I would say, this is my answer. He says, yes, I would say, this is my answer. Even if you say, give a wrong answer. So he says, never worry about this kind of thing that you are answering people. You simply enjoy, laugh, and dance. And whatever the answer comes, you give.
So beautiful. Paritosh Swamiji, do you have a question? We got
Yeah,
a...
I do. I do want to ask one important question. Swamiji, you mentioned about your journey and looking into the master's eyes, and that is so transforming. My question is that many people, I mean, I was fortunate to be, when I was in school, I was able to see Osho as one of the person in the 10,000 Buddhas. But my question to you is that there are so many youngsters now. There's so many young people who understand the importance of meditation. They may not be actually looking for a guru. They may not even know what guru actually means. But learning from the media, learning from Facebook, and thinking them own self that, yeah, meditation is something for them. So as a senior meditator, as a senior sannyasin, what is your guidance for the youth? For them, is the man more important or the message? What do you guide the young generation?
First of all, Osho is himself is not a man, a person. He is a presence, even if he is in the body or without the body. And he said himself that when I leave the body, I would be everywhere available. His energy, his consciousness, without the bondage of the body, it would be available. And he has given us hints that at least for 500 years, his consciousness remains in some way available to whosoever is receptive. And he also said, I will dissolve into my people. They would be carrying my energy also. But if somebody is having difficulty, is feeling energy from any of his disciples, then they can have, they can tap that Osho energy directly by wherever somebody meditates or wherever, like suppose Osho gave this time, 7 p.m. in the evening, where he says, if even 4 people are doing evening satsang, 5th would be me. I would be with my 4 people. So, like Buddha gave one hint, he says, on full moon night, any full moon night, especially Buddha Purnima full moon night, if 500 lamas will gather in certain place in Tibet, they would bring down my consciousness in that zone, wherever they are. Osho made it even simpler. If few of his lovers, disciples, gather at 7 p.m. in Sannyas satsang, Osho's energy would be available in that celebration. Sometimes even in meditation, you are the doer. You are not dissolving into his energy. You are doing the technique. You are the achiever. But when you let go and celebrate and dance, only then you become the medium, the vehicle, are capable to receive the energy. So it happens more in surrender than in your action, than in your doing part, practice. So one moment of surrender to this is equal to months and years of meditation. Because people become egoistic. I have done this. As I can say, I have done 21-day silence. I have done mystic roles. I have done this, this and that. And I can, earlier in Pune days, there were groupies. They would say, I have done all the listed groups are happening in multiversity. And you would still see him, he is talking, he's like, he needs to have Nobel Prize for that. The way he's talking. So actually it is meditation or prayer or transformation is not in your doing, but more in your being. And being happens when you let the doing disappear. Let the doer disappear.
That's beautiful, Swamiji. One small question, and then we'll have to open up for Q&A, and maybe Swamiji, if it's okay, we'll go 15 minutes more so people have a chance to ask 1 or 2 questions. The last
Okay.
question from my side, Swamiji, thank you, is that it's just as relevant as it's happening now. I know you're very active on Facebook, and you talk about Osho's work, you describe various events, provide your reflections. And a lot of times I see that there are many friends that are not very friendly to you. My question is more from inner perspective. How does that come across to you? Because it happens to all of us. When we receive criticism or we receive praise, we expand and contract. How it happens inside you so that we can learn from you?
Actually, these people who are criticizing or condemning or speaking ill will are more important than the ones who are praising. Like they are examining you, challenging you, your centering, and whether you get swayed by their, sometimes even if it's bullshit, but whether you get trapped or not, they have their expectation from somebody who would say, oh, Keerti has lived 49 years with the master, he should be doing this. As if I don't have any direct insight from the master to live my life. So is the insight given by these people should be following, and not the insight that I get from the master. But I may still accept them, and I may still love them as friends, because they are testing me all the time. And this world is a place, school, examination, where you have to, and they show you the mirror, they abuse you. I remembering the first discourse that I read, that reaction is automatic, response is from the intelligence. And that was the first discourse as I began with Osho, except from Osho discourse. Kya manushya ek machine hai? Is man a machine? That was the title of the first article that I read. So we don't have to behave mechanically. And it is good that you have not hired them and they are doing work for you too. They continuously, spanner is coming. Even if they throw stones, even if they are abusive, that's most wonderful. Nice. Something is triggered in them. And I'm sure there are moments they would be realizing that these are their expectations. I still remain free to whether to say yes or no. That's my being telling me something. I cannot be their follower when I'm following Osho or following my own heart. And that's what says Osho always, whenever somebody wrote something to Osho as a question, what should I do? He said, follow your feeling. He gave that much respect. Means these 3 words would come, follow your feeling. You are not obliged to follow another person's feelings for you or other person's expectation for you. Be original. Never follow other. Follow your own feeling. Within you is your godliness, your soul, your inner voice, everything. When you meditate, you would directly coming in tune with that, coming in touch with that. So why be a follower to anybody? If we had to follow the advice of our family people, we would not have taken sannyas. All were against when we took sannyas. And now another family is around us, sannyasin family, who are always new or old, have a quite opposite expectation from both sides. somebody would be advising you, Keerti, why are you wasting time talking to these people? Why don't you meditate yourself, enjoy yourself, and all that? The other would be saying, Keerti, why are you not answering this? Respond to this person. It's very important to respond. And then I would be saying, well, what I feel like, whatever the feeling comes from within me, I don't enforce anything on me.
That is the message of freedom today, Swamiji.
That's what the individual, being individual. Individual simply means indivisible, one who cannot be divided. Divisible is divided. Indivisible, individual is undivided. You would go crazy, विक्षिप्त हो जाएंगे अगर आप हर किसी की बात को मानेंगे.
So we'll open for a question and answer session. Just make sure that your question is pertaining to the topics that Vivek mentioned before, about sannyas, about awareness, about meditation in the marketplace. Make sure your question is tailored toward that to continue the experience we have been having. So I see one hand raised by Sharat. Sharat, I'll unmute you. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Namaste, Swamiji.
Namaste, Sharad. I remember you. I met you in New Jersey. Yes.
In New Jersey.
Yeah.
My question is pertaining to, one will be about sannyas and other is about your relationship with Osho. Once you said, first I'll ask the second one. You said that, Osho used to, speak to you, speak to the people, who worked with him, and he used to say something else so that, he made you and the other the mirror. Can you talk about the mirror also? How that mirror works in real life?
Well, there are mirrors 24 hours all around us. You go out of your room, you meet a stranger, he is also a mirror to you. You meet a friend, he is also a mirror to you. Because connecting or reacting or contacting with anybody in your field, wherever you are, everybody has a judgment about you. Everybody has some image about you, and you have image about everybody else. So images are having connection with each other. Real people don't meet. But strangely, everybody is, how you respond to situation becomes a mirror for you. His actions, his situation, or his judgment of you. So, and you become a mirror to many people also. He has an idea about you. Okay, Swami Keerti is this, or Swami Sharat is this. So then, when they see certain image, you function as a mirror to them. You may not be that. Mirror has no particular fixation. Anybody who comes mirrors. Mirror is mirroring everybody who comes to it. So every situation, every incident, every individual, everybody, girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, father, mother, is all functioning to each of us as mirror.
Okay. Thank you. And the other one I want to really quickly ask is, when we are, I know we are all sannyasins, and we took sannyas at some point. At the moment of sannyas, does the transformation start at that point, or is it that we have to go, we do meditations every day? Definitely we do the meditations every day, but tell us about the moment of initiation.
Transformation depends always on you. When you are initiated into sannyas, how sincerely you are into it, or if it is just another decoration for you. So if you have that urge to go through transformation, you would be remembering moment to moment. You would be living your life moment to moment with awareness. So that's what sannyas is. Sannyas simply does not mean that you go and do only dynamic meditation or kundalini meditation and come back and remain the same. Sannyas is a reminder 24 hours that you have a new name, you have a path to follow, and sannyas simply functions as an reminder. And Osho is functioning as an invitation to the inner world, inner journey. So take it that way.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Swami. I mean, it was wonderful speaking.
We have 10 more minutes that Swamiji has given us. So if anybody has a question, you could raise your hand virtually, not physically. There's a raise button, and then we will unmute you. Okay, I see one person, Anil. 1 second. We unmute you. Okay. Okay, you are unmuted, Anilji.
Yeah, Swamiji. Swamiji, in the reflection, in the mirror which I see, do I go as for the reflection then? The reflection says that I'm selfish. Reflections say I'm selfish. So I wonder whether are they reflecting themselves or am I reflecting myself?
Yeah, there is not just a mirror outside. You have a mirror within you also, which is your periphery is reflecting in your center. The center becomes, your consciousness becomes a mirror to you. And being selfish is not wrong, as long as it is giving you self-realization. Begin that selfishness for self-realization, then selfishness is okay. But if it is like a means to become greed for you, or means to become use others for your selfish ends, then it's a different story. But use your inner consciousness as your mirror to see, let it reflect who you are, what you are.
Yeah, so my journey has been going pretty well, but for my people, my family people, it's become like a selfish trip, and that has distanced them away from me. Now, whether I become a part of them who are non-meditators, or whether I mean, is it like lowering down myself and being a worldly person more? It kind of becomes like, no, there's a distance between me where I am and, the other family members who are not really very keen on the path of meditation.
Your path of meditation is your individual journey. And you see that if you can show your interest in meditation not as an exhibition to others, but more like your private trip, and live with your freedom, and your freedom does not condemn others, does not interfere with their life, then they'll say, oh, this kind of sannyas is very good. They would start having more respect for that. But when we become like too stiff about our sannyas, or too much egoistic about our sannyas, or too much that we are better than the others are stupid, others are not living their life as they should live, and I'm the only one who's living. Some kind of holier than thou feeling does not help for your family members or your friends. You just let your sannyas be a playful journey. Be smart to find time for yourself without even letting them know that you are giving time to yourself. You can find various ways to work on yourself without exhibiting anything. So then you would have cooperation coming from all directions. And it is ultimately your individual journey. But wherever the obstruction becomes too much for you, then you can be straight about it and saying, look, I'm on a certain commitment of transforming myself. Please give me time and space. And they would be sensitive enough to, because you have been sensitive to them. So in this world, it's always others are echoing you. They are echo point. What you give comes back to you. So you be loving to them and at the same time loving to yourself to continue your inner journey. That would work better.
Yeah, I get that, but there seems to be a mismatch, like a meditator living in a family who are non-meditators, some sort of a mismatch which does not enhance growth very well. I mean, if I had a spouse who was a meditator, if I was a family who were all meditators or maybe in the same school of thoughts, that enhancement of the journey would have been much more deeper, I suppose.
No, we have a certain idea of growth that would happen in the future. You are growing this moment. This should be the attitude of just remaining. If you are not given space to do certain practice of meditation, you can be living in such a way that you become meditative. Talk meditatively, eat meditatively, respond meditatively, live meditatively, breathe meditatively. You have 24 hours for that. So why divide between the world and your sannyas? The meditator and non-meditators. Do not create conflict yourself from your side. And you see the whole existence will come cooperating with you. You are born out of this existence, and existence cares for you. But if you make it a struggle or strife or your personal kind of holy trip, then maybe existence is not obliged to. It will take its time when you are ripe enough to bless you more. But in the meanwhile, you continue meditating in all the situations, whatever the situation is.
Okay.
Thank you, Swamiji. We probably have just one question time. So Anjali will unmute you, and that will be the last question for tonight.
Okay.
Go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Swamiji, for your blessed memories. Swamiji, actually, I have two parts of the question. If you could answer, please. The first part is, if I'm on the path of surrender and I feel good in this, and I suddenly hear Master saying in many videos, God as Nirakar, perceive him as a whole existential energy and meditate. I'm not able to accept it, although I want to. And the second part is, I also like to meditate, like silent meditation for 1 and 10 times. I like that. Like rarely I like, but I like it like 1 and 10 times. So I'm confused, like in all of that.
Yeah, these are the questions arising in the mind, and you lose being natural. So, like Osho always said, follow your feeling. 3 words: follow your feeling, and be with your feelings. Do not like impose anything on yourself. If you feel like meditating, going in silence, do that. But if you feel like surrendering and prayerfulness, gratefulness, do that. Be natural and remain in let go. Do not preconceive anything that this is what you should be following. If you are meditating, then remain undivided, do the method of meditation. But if you are feeling surrender and just then bow down and lie down and be prayerful to existence. So let it be a natural happening than something that you create structure for yourself. When you create structure for yourself, you become bound by the structure, and structure becomes imprisonment for you. So it's best not to follow, not to be bound by any structure imposition on yourself. Simply just be as you are, with total acceptance, total reverence for your being.
Thank you.
Thank you, Swamiji. That was
Vivek, one thing before we conclude, I just wanted to announce one thing that Swamiji will be has graciously accepted to take us into Osho Nischal meditation this Saturday, because this is the Krishna's birthday week, and Osho Nischal is one of the meditation that comes from Krishna, comes from Gita, chapter 10, Adhyay 10, I believe. So that is on coming Saturday. So everybody is invited for that. Details will be there soon. So Swamiji will take us through that meditation this coming Saturday. So, thank you. Thank you. And this video will be posted on the YouTube. I will be putting some information on the chat on the site on how to get more information about the upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you, Paritosh Swamiji. Thank you for co-hosting this. And Swamiji, thank you so much for a mesmerizing chat about your life, your stories, and clues about how we can learn from your life experience and go into meditation. Thank you so much for your time and blessings. And thank you everybody that have joined here, create this virtual energy field for us to be together this evening. Thank you so much.
Love to you all.
Swamiji. Take care.